right, guys, here we go. So this is my last video for the pumpkin spice recipes that I'm making for this batch of videos that you'll see throughout this next couple of weeks. So we're going to make this amazing breakfast treat. Let's call it a breakfast treat because you can have it as a breakfast treat or as a dessert. Super simple to make. So let's get started on the first part of it. The first part is going to be the cream cheese filling that I'm going to make. So let's get started. So for starters, I need 1 egg yolk. So I'm going to crack my egg and separate the yolk. I'm going to use a 1/4 cup of powdered sugar, a teaspoon of my homemade pumpkin spice. So there we go. And 6 ounces of cream cheese. Okay. And then we're gonna mix all this up with a hand mixer to make it nice and creamy. And we're gonna set this aside because this is going to go into our muffin that we're gonna make. I'm calling it a muffin. So note to self, do it in a deeper bowl. But since it wasn't a lot, I just wanted to do it in a small bowl, which, you know, would have prevented the splatter if I used a larger bowl. But this is what it looks like, right? Nice and creamy. That's what I'm going for. I'm looking to really incorporate the egg yolk, the cream cheese, the powdered sugar in with the pumpkin spice mix. So I'm gonna set this aside. All right, so we're using almond flour. We're gonna use 1 3/4 cup of almond flour. We're gonna use puree, pumpkin puree, 1 cup, which is here. We're gonna use 2 eggs, and because I don't like to waste anything, my egg white that I used the yolk earlier for the filler with the cream cheese filler. I'm not gonna waste this. I'm gonna add this to the recipe as well, so I don't like to throw food away, and add that in. And I am going to use for my sweetener some agave syrup. I am going to use baking powder. I'm going to use, what else am I using? My pumpkin spice. So I'm going to walk you through every one of these ingredients that I'm going to use, and we're going to get started. Okay, so here we go. Okay, so I have melted butter, 1/3 cup of melted butter, which is about 5 tablespoons more or less. And again, the pumpkin baking powder, my pumpkin spice mix, my eggs, and my almond flour and my agave. So we're gonna put them all together and mix them well. I turned the oven on for 375, and that's where we're gonna bake it for about 25 minutes. All right, so we're gonna start with the wet ingredients. So our eggs, I'm gonna toss our egg in. Our butter. And we need 3/4 of agave. So this is our sweetener. I'm gonna whisk this up. And 2 teaspoons of my spice mix. So again, if you notice, you really get a lot of use out of this spice mix, especially when it comes to fall and pumpkin. So whisk that up some more. I'm going to incorporate my pumpkin. I'll get the rest of my syrup out of here. So that's all done for this. I'm going to add my dry ingredients. So, which is 1 3/4 cup of almond flour, and my baking powder, which is 2 teaspoons. 1, 2. All right, and then my almond flour, 1 3/4. My measuring cup has measurement numbers on the inside, so 3/4. All right, so here we go. Get it all incorporated. All right, so we're gonna prep our baking pan and do muffin liners to make this into our muffin. All right guys, so here we go. Here is our mix. Here is our filler. And we're gonna put these all together in our muffin pan. Okay, so you wanna measure out everything into your muffin pan, make enough room that you can put about a tablespoon of the filling in, of the cream cheese filling in. So we start off by getting it in there. If you are using a pan with no liners, just make sure you grease the pan, all right? This one, I greased it because I don't know what happened to my other muffin liner. It just magically disappeared. When you have kids, I don't know, they just always say, no, I don't know what happened. I put them all back in the sink, but you know, somebody accidentally probably threw it in the garbage and don't want to fess up to it, but it's all good. I'm just gonna have to buy another set. Basically get everything in. Usually makes a good 12. All right, so got them all in. I personally like to take the back of a spoon, give myself some space. So all I'm doing with the spoon is just making space to put my cream cheese filler in. Okay, and of course this, when I start moving it around, I can see which one needs a little bit more. So you do them with all the muffins. Just give it like a little well, right? Not too deep. Just wanna give it some space in the middle. And you can see these are nice and moist from the pumpkin. This is loaded with lots of fiber. All right, so there we go. Now we're gonna scoop about a tablespoon or less. Start off with trying to evenly distribute right in the center. And just enough for the last one. So pretty much this is it. We're done. We're gonna get this in the oven and we're gonna bake this for 25 minutes. All right, here we go. Beautiful. In the oven, 375, and I'll see you guys back in 25 minutes. All right guys, so this is done baking. This is what they look like. See, beautiful, fresh out of the oven. Again, these are done. We're gonna let them cool and we can dig into these once they're done. Here's a version of one I made yesterday. So again, nice, soft, moist, full of flavor. So if you're looking for a great, healthy muffin that you want to bake, these are them, gluten-free. About 25 minutes, 375, does the trick. And these that I'm looking at down here looks amazing. So do try them. Let me know what you think. Subscribe to my channel, don't forget. And I will see you guys next time.